So about a month ago, OpenAI released the GPT store, which is actually a collection or store of a lot of powerful tools that you can use in your daily life. So basically you can use it like for your productivity. There are tools for research and analysis, programming, to be actually a programming assistant. There can actually be like endless examples or endless use cases for such like GPTs or tools that you can use in your daily life or even in your professional life. Me personally, I use a lot of GPTs. I create my custom GPTs. So the cool thing about that is that you're not actually just limited to the GPTs that you see in the GPT store, but you actually can create your own. So just let me give like a brief introduction of what a GPT is. So basically, for those of you who know ChatGPT, so basically a ChatGPT is a tool where you can chat to, and it actually gives you responses that like correspond to your question. So and it actually has like a lot of knowledge about the world and about the data that has been used for training it. And also it has like some logic. So basically it can answer questions logically and follow the flow of the conversation. So that's ChatGPT. So basically a custom GPT is actually an extension of that. So it can still talk to you, but now it can actually make more powerful things, and we're gonna see that in a moment. Now I just want to say one point, like the difference basically between the GPT store and any other store, for example, like the App Store or like the Android Play Store, is that creating your own GPT is significantly much easier than creating your own like a Android or iOS application, and we're gonna see that in a moment how easy it is actually to get started and like just create your own GPT. Also, another very important point is that to access actually the GPTs or to create your own GPT or even to access other people's GPT, you need actually to have the Plus membership. So you need to have a paid membership to do that. So instead, for example, if you want to create your own GPT and you want your friends who do not have access to the GPT Plus membership to access it, you can create it through another way. Using basically the Assistant API. The Assistant's API enables you to create assistants or like GPTs or agents that can actually help you with any daily task or anything that you can think of. So it's basically just an application that has a lot of capabilities into it, which leverages mainly the large language models capabilities. So what can the GPT or the assistant do? It can do the main functionality of the ChatGPT, which like just answering your messages. On top of that, it can access functions. So the functions, you can basically define a function and then interface this function to your messaging through your messages, so you can actually chat with this function. So imagine you have like a Python function, but instead of calling this function, you can actually just chat to it. So you can for example like the function that adds two numbers. So in a programming language, to call such a function, you need to have an access to the definition of the function, and then you need actually to have the syntax to call that function. But here with a GPT, you can create and add as many functions as you want. And you can just like call them or call them just by chatting. You can just chat your call to the function and basically just get the response back in a natural language manner. What's also cool about the functions is that you can basically link them to external APIs. So you can have them, for example, access live data. So like access the weather, for example, you access the stock market prices, and basically there is no limit. Only the imagination is your limit. Also, it can access the code interpreter. So it has like a built-in code interpreter, and the code interpreter basically enables you to perform any computational tasks that like programming language can perform. And mainly they use like a Python code interpreter. So basically, they can you can like I don't like create plots. You can basically ask the code interpreter to basically create some functions and execute some functions for you, which is a very powerful tool and gives the chatting experience a another dimension by basically adding the computational capability. So you can ask like to some mathematical things, and it's gonna basically calculate it for you. So the last one here, the last tool here in the toolkit is the retrieval tool. So basically, the retrieval tool, you can also add a knowledge source to the GPT or to the assistant, and it's gonna actually access this knowledge store, and it's gonna chat to you back with responses from that knowledge store. So it's actually very powerful. You can do a lot of things with these features. And we're going to see like just a simple application of that. So the other thing also that you need to do in order to get some like the retrieval functionality, you obviously need to upload the knowledge source that the assistant is going to be using for accessing the information to answer your questions correspondingly. So now this example, I'm just gonna create a very simple example of a chatbot representative, or like a customer support representative on behalf of a company that like deliver goods like internationally, like freight forwarding basically. So we can call it like a shipping service, customer service representative. Yeah, so mainly this GPT or this assistant is going to be our customer support representative. So let's say you have a company or you have a small business, and you actually want other people to easily access information about this business, instead of like spreading this information or answering these people by yourself, or even hiring people to answer these questions for them. So yeah, this assistant is going to be doing that on your behalf, and it's actually like you can replicate it. It can answer like a very large scale of people at the same time. So instructions. Also like for the instructions, we can say anything. I actually have prepared a template just for the instructions. And one second, I'm gonna show you the template. For the instructions. So you are a customer support service. So here is I just pasted the command. You are a customer service representative that answers about questions regarding the shipping and package tracking. So basically, some very cool feature we're gonna be adding to this chat representative is that it does not only just like give information about your business or about your services or about the shipping services, but it also can access your API to retrieve tracking information about the orders that are being delivered live, and then give this information back to your user, instead of like having your user, for example, go to the tracking page, for example, and do the tracking for themselves. You can actually have an assistant that actually can retrieve this information on behalf of them in just like a very easy way, by just chatting to them back. So you can like have a lot of functionalities and a lot of features, but for now, for simplicity, I'm gonna just like be using the two main features. So I'm gonna have the functions. I'm gonna add a function, and basically to add a function, you need to have it in this particular to follow this particular schema. So here we see that like the function should have a name, like here in this case it's get weather. Description is basically the description that the assistant is going to be using actually in order to determine whether to use this function or not. And then you have the parameters of this function, and the parameters are like first you have the type of the parameter, which is object. The properties of the parameters, like the properties of this function, and here in this case we have the location, which is of type string, and we have the description, the city and state, for example San Francisco. So for the weather, you need to know the location, And then you need to know the unit that you're gonna deliver the temperature or the weather with. So for example, it's gonna like you're gonna deliver it either in Celsius or Fahrenheit. And then you say which parameter is required to call this function. So whenever you call a function, the assistant is going to be asking you to provide the required parameters. So in this case, the location. So if you ask about the weather, you say, okay, please tell me the weather in this city. It's gonna tell you, or if you like, tell me the weather in general. Tell me the weather today, and then it's gonna tell you like, okay, where do you live, or for which city you want actually to know the weather, and after that, it's gonna be telling you. It's gonna retrieve the weather from an API, external API, and then it's gonna get the result back to you, and then it's gonna just tell you the result, which is a very powerful thing. So in our example, let me add a function. So here again, I already created the schema for the tracking status. So my function name is going to be get tracking status. So it's gonna actually tell us what is the status of our order that we just like that we're waiting for example. And the properties are basically the tracking number. So the tracking number is actually needed in order to retrieve the information about the tracking status, and the tracking number is of a type string, and the description is the tracking number of the package, and the required parameter is a tracking number. So whenever a user is going to ask the representative assistant to check the status of their order, the assistant is gonna ask about the tracking number. So what's the description that the assistant needs actually to use to determine whether to use this function or not is this one: get the current status of the package. So it's actually like a very simple schema that you can scale to any other function of your choice. So I'm going to save the function. Now in this case, I don't need the code interpreter, so I'm not going to use it. And actually I'm going to need the retrieval tool, because I'm going to be having some information about my shipping business. In this case, I just like got the user agreement of the HL, and I'm going to be using it to answer questions about this shipping service. So here I go back. I need now to upload this PDF file about the general terms and conditions, and then it is actually automatically saved, and now we are ready to run the assistant or to chat to this representative. So what I'm going to be asking first, I'm going to be asking like what is let's first check whether it's actually understanding the context of the PDF file that we've uploaded. So let's ask a question like, what is the policy for damaged items? And then I'm gonna ask a question. I'm gonna hit run, and here you can actually see the API calls Python, and so let's see the result. So basically, any visible damage, reduction, or loss must be reported immediately upon the receipt of the goods and must be noted to transport documentation. Reporting hidden damage. Hidden damages must be reported as soon as possible, but not later than 7 calendar days, 14 calendar days, 3 calendar days, and it actually gives you the resource of the information, which is the file that we just uploaded. So if we go here to, I don't know, like let's say damaged, damage. We can see, yeah, so about hidden damages actually we asked. So hidden damages shall be reported to DHL as soon as possible, but not later than 7 days, calendar days, in some cases 14 calendar days, and in some cases like 3 calendar days. So it actually got this information, got this policy correctly, and it actually sorted it out in a very neat way in bullet points that the user actually can have like a very easy access to it, rather than just like having to read all this file. So we've all seen these like terms and agreements, and like it's very difficult, and like we've never read them, but now we can actually like chat to some like representative and get this information like right away. So now let's like ask about like a okay, I have ordered an item. How to know? I want to know where it is. So we can just simply ask a question. Here we're gonna like we can track the logs, what is going on behind the scenes, under the hood. And now it says that to assist you further, could you please provide me with the tracking number of your item? So you see because we specified the tracking number as a required parameter to the function, now it's actually asking for it. So we go back, we say the number, like just a random number, and then we say okay, that's the tracking number. So now it's actually, you see, it's actually have decided to use this get tracking status, because it actually classified this message that it needs this tracking function to be answered. So now we can submit just like a sample answer, and this again in real life scenario, it's going to be fetched from an API or somewhere else. So in this case, we can say like a status in transit, and we basically going to submit, and it's going to get our back the results in like just like plain English. So your package is currently in transit. The status indicates that your item is on its way to the destination and moving through the shipping network. If you are more specific questions, feel free to ask. So you see now, like we have created mainly like a customer support representative that can answer questions based on like some knowledge source that you give to, and then you can also give some custom functions that so this customer representative will have basically a like access to. So this is basically the main building blocks and the main tools that you can use. Here in this case code interpreter, we wouldn't we wouldn't need it in such scenario, but maybe in more complex cases you can use it. So basically the limit here is just your imagination, and maybe later I'm gonna make another like a video about how we can basically take this and integrate it into our application. Let's say we have a website, or we have like a web application, or how to, for example, integrate that with other messaging tools like WhatsApp or Telegram, or integrate it with our Android or iOS app. Maybe I'm gonna do that later. But for now, thank you so much for watching, and that was all from my side. This is what I wanted to share with you today. See you soon.